What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another exciting episode of Nostalgic Videos. As you can see, I'm rocking the Always in Control shirt. Makes me feel kind of nostalgic. This is the series where I go and talk about films that either made my childhood or destroyed them without my vast knowledge. Drumstick ice cream in one hand, Infinity Gauntlet coffee mug in the other. What can make a man happy, right? Alright, the fact to be able to take this off the coffee mug and actually use the gauntlet to go back into my childhood and never have to become an adult. I digress. So in this episode, I figured I would finally talk about a movie that I have hinted at for months, maybe even possibly a year. If you go back and you watch my reviews of the DC animated movies, which that series is going to come to an end, I promise, hopefully, I always said, and do not forget to think of yourself as a national treasure. Ladies and gentlemen, I am finally here to talk about Spy Kids 3D. No, I'm kidding. I am here to finally talk about the movie National Treasure. I've been wanting to talk about this movie for a long time, and I'm just now finally getting around to it. I just figured, you know what? Let's do it. Especially after we got the Uncharted film that kind of got me into a somewhat of a treasure hunting mood. Now you could probably say, well, why not review the Indiana Jones movies? And I may go review those someday. But for now, I'm going to stick with National Treasure by Nicolas Cage. Now, a little history with this film. History. The movie about history. This movie actually might have been the very first movie that got me to really appreciate soundtrack in movies. Because of the music that plays when they find the treasure at the very end of the movie, that stuck with me, and I have such a great appreciation for certain themes, mainly instrumental, so music like you would hear in this movie, or what they make in the DC or the Marvel movies, or even something like Lord of the Rings, from the beginning of a battle to something being discovered. Sometimes music can hurt or help a film, and the music in this movie helps it tremendously. This has a great soundtrack. It hits all its bullet points with every single song that they use, from whether it be something that was created for the film or some old music. It fits very well, and it makes the film even better. Like I said, it can either hurt or help, and this really helped the film. So, another thing, this is actually my very first ever Nicolas Cage movie that I ever saw. I had never seen anything that he was in, not that I know of, or any voiceover work that he did. The very first voiceover movie that I think I seen him do was The Croods. So this was my very first introduction to Nicolas Cage. And I can honestly say I enjoyed this movie quite a bit. I actually have a very interesting relationship with this movie because when I was actually in school, I did not have an appreciation for history. I actually didn't like history at all. Mainly because the school that I went to, we had these little books, and the only way that you progressed is you had to pass the test, and if you failed, you had to go and erase the book and do it over again, and I struggled a lot with history and science, and I just had a hatred for history. I wanted nothing to do with it. But my brother-in-law one day, Bob Wood, was like, hey, why don't we go watch National Treasure? I was like, okay, sure. Seems pretty interesting, you know, treasure map on the back of the Declaration of Independence. You know, sounds like a really fun time. And I grew an appreciation for history because, and even though this story is wild, it's bonkers, the fact that they were just able to make this movie fun. You know, a movie doesn't always have to be a masterpiece. It doesn't always have to be something groundbreaking. Sometimes a movie can, to quote The Bob Show, which you should also go watch, sometimes a movie can just be candy. And that's what this movie feels like. It feels like some really fun candy. This is a very fun film. Nicolas Cage is clearly enjoying the role that he's doing. You know, this is one of the movies where he doesn't lose his ever-loving mind. The character Abigail Chase actually makes fun of the plot. You know, she calls, like, you know, the whole entire thing of there being a treasure map on the back of Declaration of Independence stupid. It's very hilarious. The whole entire fact that you have a movie with Sean Bean that he doesn't die in, which I'm pretty sure there might have been a meeting, and Nicolas Cage might be like, oh, come on, I really want to kill Sean Bean in this movie, guys, come on. It's the thing with Sean Bean, it's what we pay him for, to die. But he doesn't die in this movie, and the fact of the matter is that Nicolas Cage and Sean Bean in this movie they're kind of trying to one-up each other to see, like, you know, who can steal the Declaration even better. You got Nicolas Cage trying to do it the subtle way, and then you've got Sean Bean's character who's trying to, you know, basically just break in, shoot people, and take it. And it's just a very fun ride. And then you got the guy who plays his father. I can't remember his actual name. I think his last name is Voight. He played in the Anaconda film, but, you know, it's odd that Nicolas Cage is playing the one who believes the rumor about the treasure, but his father is very skeptical, and, you know, he's always trying to be like, you know, our family wasted years trying to chase after this treasure, and it was just more clues, more clues, more clues, more clues, and he just eventually got tired of it. He had enough. But, you know, like, it's kind of one of those things that the more they discover, the more he gradually gets involved. And he's like, you know what? I was wrong. This room that we're in is real, and that means that the treasure is real. And seeing the skeptic go to the one who's believing, and seeing the one who actually believes go to a skeptic for a minute is a very interesting dynamic. And it was something that was a really fun way to do. It was really groundbreaking. You know, like, they grew as characters. You know, you had Patrick being the one who was like, you know, the treasure doesn't exist. It was made up to distract the British. Whereas Ben is like, no, I know this is real. I'm going to find it. And he's very determined. And it's just a great character growth overall, in my personal opinion. The fact that the house that they get at the very end, I actually did go to a field trip to visit that house. I don't remember much of it. But when I seen it, I was like, I've been there. And this movie really gave me an appreciation for history. So much, in fact, that I have a copy of the Declaration of Independence. I don't know where it is, but I do have a copy of it somewhere. And I also read a book of Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter, and I have done a review of that. You can go check that out. But this story, even though it's so wild beyond belief, the way how they tell it is kind of like, maybe that did happen. Maybe there is a treasure out there that's like that. The way they build up the treasure, like, they talk about how each person who had it, it grew, and, like, it's this vast treasure, and it makes you think, how big is this treasure? What's in this treasure? What's it gonna look like? How are we gonna find it? What clues are we going to get to find it? And they integrated some things from history. I think this was real, but the fact that they found a pair of spectacles that Benjamin Franklin possibly invented to be able to read the map in a certain way, it was just awesome how they were able to take this and just, like, make it. They were making it silly, but they were also making it fun, and it's just a fun ride. I give this movie a B+. It's a popcorn flick. It's fun. It's got cheesy moments in it. Everybody's having a good time. Sean Bean doesn't die. And, you know, you actually learn some things about history that are real. You know, they do talk about some things in history that are legit. And, yeah, I strongly recommend that you go and watch this, whether you're a history fan or if you're a Nicolas Cage fan. This is a classic, nostalgic movie, and I recommend everybody go watch it. Don't forget to stay a national treasure. Have a good day, guys, and next time, we're going to go down the road to El Dorado. City of Gold. Bye, guys.